Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Neo here for Back to Warcraft with the two finalists of the WCA Pro Qualifier 2015. The game is now a few hours behind, and we took the time. We wanted to take the time to recap it a little bit. First map, of course, was yAwS. And Chief, you didn't start yAwS like you always do, but more like in a Rudin kind of way. Why was that?
Well, it was because of our last two best out of threes, where both time I tried to creep the mercenary camp, and I either got punished by getting the priest stolen, or I got the priest, and it basically slowed down my creeping a lot. So I thought, if I just play it safe, creep the green spot instead, and then yeah, I did copy Rudin and got the priest after creeping the green spot. I thought it would be more safe and safer against like Taros and stuff. But the bad thing about it is, in a macro game, it's a lot worse than creeping the mercenary camp because your expansion's a lot slower.
So the early game in the upper bracket final went a little worse for you, I guess, because you wasn't able to steal so many creeps and get the mercs and stuff. But it was still fairly good because Warchief wasn't able to push into your expansion. So how did you feel after the early game?
I think I adapted quite well to the style that he wanted to put me in. Like, I knew Rudin was doing it really, really well, and he ended up in a different strategy because he got a lot of archers early on. I think you skipped that, and I realized this pretty soon. And I saw the Wisp moving down because I constructed a farm where you usually like to expand, and due to that, I saw the Wisp moving down. I was like, okay, he counter-expands. And then I was sending a footman there, and I knew that he was counter-expanding. And I realized how far I was ahead because my early game was pretty good. I got level 3, I got the free mercenary camp creep because you were busy like defending or killing my first footman that actually scouted it. And I think you were kind of afraid that I might kill it or cancel it, the expansion. So for that reason, I think I was pretty far ahead already. And then I could just put a lot of pressure onto you, like early on, delay your expansion a little further, so that I added up, like in the end I had so many units. I don't know, how much supply did you have in the end?
It must have been about 65 maximum.
Okay, yeah, I had like 80 and I really wanted to push you hard, so for that reason I even got Rifleman. This I usually completely dislike and don't really add to my army, but I think I wanted to push really early and it added up like perfectly, even though you bought the second scroll away from me, which I would like to have. But my positioning was also kind of fine because I got 2 towers and a front line of workers and you could barely bypass them. So yeah, this added up and then I won the first map rather convincingly, I think. And I felt pretty damn good. I was like, okay, next map Turtle Rock, but I think we will speak about that.
Okay, I have no idea what you said because Kaldor is so loud right now, but Rich, the last fight, I think the position for you was horrible, but Mark was coming with towers. Why did you fight there and not reposition with the town portal?
Well, it's like Mark said, if I had about 2 more minutes, then I would have been able to get 80 food and I would have been much more comfortable. But the timing of the push just hit at a really good time. And I couldn't really get a better position. Like, there was no possibility of getting a better position because he would have just stayed at towers and then towers would have completed and then there'd be more towers and of course more teams would shoot me from a distance. So I had to take that fight really.
So 1-0 for the German. Next map was Turtle Rock and we had close positions there. Did you guys hear that on the commentary?
No, I didn't.
No way, no.
Okay, very good. So what do you think when the scout arrived early?
I was like cursing under my breath when I saw that. I couldn't believe it happened again because I was like, as long as it's not close, then I know I can win Turtle Rock. And so I saw it, I was like, ah.
Yeah, for me it was like, okay, I was leading 1-0 already in this series and I knew, okay, we had this game before, like we played it in the first series, we also had Turtle Rock close position. I ended up being in a really great spot, he did not handle it all too well, I think. And he did all the little adjustments, like his base layout was a little different, his army composition early on was a little different, and this like gave me like so much less space or less opportunities to punish you. But I think I also was not playing as good as I was before. And also you getting the boots and I'm not going for my shop and instead going for your shop and try to get it there. And then the early Archmage loss, it was so sad.
I think you didn't go for the super early harass with a lot of militia. Why not?
I think it's too risky and he can punish it. And I think his base layout was created to really prevent my militias to going through and surround his main tree. So I was like, a little bit afraid if I would do that, will I lose a lot of resources, will I lose a lot of peasants, will he be in a better shape after that? I wanted to delay your attack, but then I decided, no, I'm fine like that. I just go Rifleman, push, and then you added the second Ancient of War later on, and I knew, okay, I can't enter from there, and from the other side I will have a super bad position, and this was really, really smart.
Yeah, of course, on Turtle Rock it's very hard to expand as a human or in general, so we were kind of forced into the rifle strategy. I think you don't really like to play that much, right? Compared to the mass casters with expansion with mortar teams?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, because you have to, if you play the Rifleman strategy, I think there are certain counters to it. And I think you're aware of everything that you have to do in order to stop that, like most of the time. Sometimes little things add up, your early game can be like really, really bad, and then you cannot prevent it as an idle player sometimes. But as soon as your base is like really well constructed, you get like a shop to get like potions and stuff, you delay the human as hard as you can so that you get your bears out, you can use Reju to regenerate the missing hit points, and as soon as you have master bears, I have the feeling that my rifle caster strategy is just scaling like totally off. It's
especially with Panda instead of Naga.
Against Naga, I think you can maybe go late game. Sonic sometimes gets pitload third. I think this can work, but most of the time I think Panda's a lot better.
Yeah, talking about the Panda, I think on Turtle Rock he was fairly strong with the pendant and stuff. So what role did the Panda play?
Panda played a huge part, really. Especially with close spawn, when all the militia come, he just destroys them. And the reason I took Panda instead of Naga was because of the Archmage kill. I knew I was ahead, and I knew Panda is the better late game hero, so I thought I could survive to the late game with Panda. Meanwhile, I'll take Naga if I think a tier 2 push is coming, or I can't survive the tier 2 push, so I'll take Naga instead.
Yeah, I think that's... What? Should be better now? Okay, the sound is back again. So yeah, I think that was Turtle Rock, or is there anything you want to mention about the later stages? Okay, so the third and deciding map, Twisted Meadows. How did you feel right before the game started?
For me, I was like, okay, I can definitely handle Twisted Meadows when it comes down to like creep routes. I saw a few replays and I had a few ideas what I wanted to do. I wanted to do really early hero. I got a not super fast altar, but still a fast altar, and I wanted to intercept you when you go for the mercenary camp and just creepjack you with 6 militias. I'm not sure if you got a read on that, but you decided to go for a different opening. Maybe you can say us why.
Yeah, normally I would immediately creep the mercenary camp after creeping the gnolls, but it was because you crept your own gnolls that I knew that I was more vulnerable and I didn't do it. Like, if you crept the laboratory, I probably would have had plenty of time to do my mercenary camp. And when I was going in Twisted Meadows, I just thought, as long as he isn't on the close spawn next to my Ancient of War, so you can't like militia rush it, then I thought I'd be pretty safe. And I thought Warden was a really good choice as well.
Yeah, I know last year in China you told us that there's no reason to play a different hero than the Demon Hunter. You remember that? You don't. But okay, now for the first time in this tournament you didn't play the Demon Hunter but the Warden. Why? And do you like playing Warden in general?
In general, not so much. Like, Demon Hunter is usually stronger. It just comes down to the map and what race you're playing against.
Okay, so Warden it was. I think the early game went pretty okay. You had a good pressure on yAwS' expansion very early on. You weren't able to push his expansion. Was that the first thing that threw you back a lot?
Yeah, I think the first mistake actually was when you hit my expansion. I think there was not too much damage done there. Like, you arrived there when I arrived in your main base, right? And I think I should have killed at least one lore, or maybe both, and then TP back with a lot of militia support coming to my expansion. Or just use the militia support to maybe scare you away a little bit and get more time to actually put pressure on you, so that you maybe have to TP. And I think by that time, the TP was already... No, the TP was not gone. You TP to the expansion later on. But I think I should have applied more pressure toward either your expansion or your Ancient of Laws to delay either of that. But in the end, I chose the wrong option. I was like doing it halfway. I was attacking the Ancient of Law, and at the same time I was like, oh, I have to go back immediately. I have to go back, otherwise everything falls apart. But in the end, I was not killing the Ancient of Law, the first one, and the defense was not like too hard because there were not too many units from your side.
Yeah, because I had Ultra Vision, I actually saw you going to my expansion, and so at that time I was thinking, should I chase you and try and pick off units, or should I just keep on going to your expansion? I decided just to keep going to your expansion. I agree with you saying, like, you got the Ancient of Law down to about half HP, and I think you definitely could have killed that, because I was quite slow at doing any damage to your expansion, because it was quite, you know, there was already like one tower, I was second one coming, and I had a beast scroll, but it still would have taken me a while to do any significant damage there.
So the game turned into a mass expansion, Moon versus TH kind of style of game. But you only stayed on 2 bases. Why was that?
This was due to this guy. Like, seriously, my strategy was like I had a complete different layout. I was also thinking, will I get a tier 1 expansion additional one? I wanted to stay on tier 1, get the shredder, and then get an additional expansion on the other side close to you. But I thought it's like too scary because it will be close to you and I have no chance to secure that. So the close spawn was kind of bad for me. But still, I was not able to pull off like any kind of expansion, any towers, like anywhere. There was a hippogriff that was like flying all over the place. He located his army in the middle of the map, so as soon as he was realizing, okay, he's going for this stop, I just go there. And meanwhile, he was constructing all the expansion all over the place. So his game sense and game style and overall control in this situation, it was so well executed. I really give you the credit for that, like, it was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like I've been in that situation quite a lot of times on Twisted Meadows, and I feel like I really know how to play against that tank style. My whole game plan was just denying that third expansion, and that hippogriff was all, yeah, just gave me all the scouting information I needed.
Yeah, talking about the hippo, you won your game against Hail of Anger with a lot of hippos, and now you won the final map against yAwS with hippogriffs as well, against the griffins, of course. So maybe the bear's not your favorite unit anymore, but the hippo now?
Well, I need to go one step further and make hippo riders like Foggy. Hippos are good, but I think bears are still my favorite.
So you tried to counter it with tanks. Of course, it was well defended by a lot of Engine of Wars. But do you think that maybe sending only 2 tanks is not enough, and you should have like gathered them before and then sent 4, for example?
4 tanks definitely make more damage than 2, this for sure. But I have to say that I wanted to like distract you. I wanted to distract you and put a lot of attention to different places on the map so that I get the space and that I can use the space. But like, for one, I felt like it's okay because you had to invest like so much resources into defending. You had like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 Ancient of Wars at the one location, something like that. It was like so many. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like so many Ancient of Wars. So I felt like, okay, he's investing a lot into the defense, but on the same time, I knew that you were on 3 bases all along, and I felt like pretty bad. I was like, okay, I'm not doing enough damage. Maybe I should have added a 3rd workshop. But I think it wouldn't have made like any kind of difference because you had bears around, Ancient of Wars around, you had the Talons around for the Favorite Fire. It was like really well executed. All the defenses were in place even before the first tanks arrived. I think you had a pretty good read on that. So maybe I should have adjusted and go into other units, but I think you were prepared like for everything. You got Ancient of Wind already, droids. Maybe you can give us some insight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was pretty much prepared for everything, and my Panda got level 5 so quickly. Like, you must have had like level 3 Archmage and level 5 Panda, and of course he's the best counter to tanks. And yeah, with the Hippogriff, I just scouted the workshops very early, so I knew exactly what was coming, and then I knew exactly what I had to do, just make the Ancient of Wars. And after that, it's just natural for a human to want to switch into air units. So then I had the 2 Ancient of Winds ready to produce Hippogriffs. And then once we get to that late game, I don't think there's much human can do against the Nice Elf army in that position. There's no real army that you could have made, no composition.
Okay, so you agree? That's about Twisted Meadows. Warchief Rich is our new European champion for Warcraft 3. We had more than 12,000 people on the stream. It's like so much more than we have now. Do you think that we'll have kind of a drive for the upcoming weeks now for Warcraft? That many people stuck around because of your final, for example?
I would really like to see that, like in terms of like Jero Cups being covered and all other kind of tournaments that are going on by Back to Warcraft. I would really like to see maybe the viewer count rises a little bit. Maybe even for like smaller channels like mine or like for the players. Maybe a lot of people get back interested. We have also seen here like behind the player area, a lot of people like stand still and were actually watching the game, and a few players were asking, what kind of game is this? Like, what are you playing and what's going on here? And I think Warcraft is still attractive to a lot of people because we are just lacking of other kind of RTS games. We still have StarCraft around, but this is a totally different game from Warcraft, I have to say. And for that reason, I would love to see like new people coming in terms of viewers. But I think as players, it will be like really, really tough to come to a scene that is that developed and stuff like that. So from a viewer perspective, I would really like to see higher numbers, and it would be really fun for all of us if the community still keeps growing.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with exactly what you said. There were a lot of people showing interest, and hopefully the viewers that saw it because of WCA will stick around and check out other streams and maybe be interested in the scene and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you've covered it already.
So one very quick question, who's your favorite for the Open Qualifier?
Favorite for the Open Qualifier? Of course, Mr. Namanier. I'm cheering for this guy.
It's going to be, I would say, Ruden, Cash and Hawk.
So I wanted to ask one more thing. Oh yes, so you're going to China, of course. I know we talked a bit about how to beat them. Will you do something crazy, maybe a boot camp before the event, or thinking out new stuff like Foggy did?
I think we have quite some ideas on that. And also our family father, Mr. Tim Gable, shared some insights. He might have some boot camp with us, but we still have to figure that one out, because the wife and the kid and so on. But maybe there's some room for this. Maybe there's some room for a boot camp, like 2 weeks, 1 week. We spoke about practice that we will have like most likely by November or something like that, and I think we will put a lot of thought into it and then go to China with all the weapons, and then we will see like who's better and if the Chinese people really can handle all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely just try and be as prepared as possible, and I think the bootcamp idea is really a cool idea if it can all work out, that is.
Okay, the Warcraft Elite of Europe, looking strong, looking forward to China, maybe killing the Chinese again. yAwS will, we'll see. This was Back to Warcraft from Gamescom. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your time, everybody. See ya on Twitch, I guess.